I'm calling it right now. 2019 is the year to be petty. I mean, this week we learned that Donald Trump and Nancy Pelosi are some of the pettiest people on earth. And this all started when Nancy Pelosi essentially disinvited Donald Trump from giving his State of the Union address, which I didn't even know anyone could do that. And then she's saying that it's due to security issues because the Department of Homeland Defense and the Secret Service aren't being funded because of the government shutdown. But then the very next day, Trump fires back by sending Nancy Pelosi a letter saying that he is canceling her diplomatic trip to Brussels and to Afghanistan, where she was going to meet with NATO and our troops. So yeah, these two are some of the pettiest people in the US right now. Welcome to the NETMA Show, where we discuss news and current events and analyze how those things impact your everyday life. My name is Kellen, and week 3 of 2019 was packed. I mean, this week we learned that Netflix is pushing up the price of its normal subscription. So if you're paying $11, you're gonna pay $13. If you're one of the crazy people that pay $14, you're going to pay $16. And with that roughly $2 per month increase across 58 million US subscribers, that accounts to over $1.2 billion in additional revenue that Netflix is going to bring in. And it makes me wonder, how much am I willing to pay for Netflix? And I think for me that might top out at about $20 a month. You know, as long as it stays below that HBO price of about $15 a month, I think it's going to be okay. And let's stick around in Silicon Valley, because we learned this week that Tesla intends to lay off about 7% of its workforce, or roughly 3,000 people. And this is because Tesla is attempting to reduce the selling price of its Model 3 vehicle, which has so far been a car for people in the luxury market. And they want to make it something that can be mass produced, that people across the country, no matter how much money you make, you can afford. And the car currently is selling for about $44,000, and they're hoping to get it down to about $35,000. Next, let's revisit a topic that we discussed last week, and that is about R. Kelly. Now, his record label, Sony, has cut ties with him, and this is largely because of the revelations in the Lifetime docuseries Surviving R. Kelly. And this docuseries laid out his decades of sexual abuse, and in fact gave revelations about his sex cult and how he's keeping women kind of hostage and whatnot. And we discussed this last week, so it looks like there are teeth to these allegations and progress is being made. And while we're talking about women and equality, let's step into what Citi released this week. And Citi is a major US bank, and they have detailed that they pay women 29% less than what they pay men. And when it extends to their UK operation, they pay women 44% less than they pay men. And when you add in bonuses, that disparity stretches to 67%. Now, when it comes to people of color, they earn 7% less than their white counterparts. And women make up about 50% of Citi's workforce, but account for only 37% of their executive ranks. And people of color, they only represent 1.8%. Now, the company, they said that they're going to take steps to improve this by increasing representation of women and minorities in their leadership ranks, and they hope to get that to about 40% by 2021. And while Citi is disclosing this information, something tells me that they aren't the only company that's struggling with their diversity. And while we're on the topic of women and a disparity in the US and across the globe, let's discuss our main topic, which is about Gillette and their new advertising campaign, We Believe. Now, this advertising campaign focuses on bullying, sexual abuse, and the Me Too movement, and essentially how men can contribute to improve these conditions for both boys, girls, and women alike. The video or commercial went into clips about boys fighting. It went into a man touching a woman. It also discussed catcalling and how men can effectively do better. And they're saying, is this really the best we can get? Because that was their tagline for about 30 years now. And as you would expect, of course, in the US, you can't really do anything positive without something negative coming up. And that advertising campaign, while it was cheered and celebrated, I mean, they've caught a lot of flack for that. And, you know, I think a lot of men have felt attacked. There are people saying that, you know what, I'm a good man. Why are you coming after me? Or they're saying that Gillette has no business stepping into their family life, how they are raising their boys and their children. And a part of me feels like this is, it's probably some bad guys that are like, well, wait a minute. Hey, why are you calling me a bad guy now? I'm not a bad guy. Why are you attacking me? And they're feeling insecure about that. Like now, the Me Too movement, it's stepping from celebrities like Bill Cosby, Harvey Weinstein, R. Kelly, and is now coming for the everyday man, right? And they feel attacked for that. And perhaps I think some people feel that Gillette is saying that you need to change the way that you're raising your boys. And that effectively might be true, because with the video focusing on bullying, yeah, there are things that we can do to improve how children are treated in schools and let boys know that you don't have to be a fighter to be considered a man. And it's up to grown men to stop giving the excuse of, well, boys will be boys, because that effectively contributes to that behavior and gives boys and young men a pass for the damaging things that they may do to each other and women. And one backlash item that I'd like to point out is there's this Facebook user, his name is Graham, and he put up this poster or picture of himself and his 3 children holding guns in a cotton field. And his point was, hey, does this offend you, Gillette? I'm going to raise my children the way that I think they should be raised. And yeah, I think you can. There's no problem with that. And in fact, I think that this man, Graham, is probably an excellent father, raising his children with superior morals to be great contributors to our country. But there are a couple of things about his photo that it made me think that this could have been done in a different way. And that is because, one, himself and his boys have guns. And yes, you can raise your family to use guns. This video has nothing to do with the argument on weapons. But I do want to point out that weapons do not equate to masculinity. Because if you don't have a weapon, does that then mean that you are not a man or you're not masculine? And then furthermore, his daughter does not have a weapon, right? And she's flanked by her brothers that can offer that protection. But I think that Gillette commercial is in support of her. So let's say she doesn't have a gun in the future, and there's some bad guy that comes along that wants to do God knows what to her. It's encouraging other men to step in and defend a woman when they see that something is going wrong. If you see something, say something. You hear that in the airport all the time. And in the video, it includes Terry Crews, who had a quote that says that men need to hold other men accountable. And yeah, I think that this commercial does just that, and I think it is exactly what the U.S. needs right now. And I'm interested to see what Gillette does in the future, because they released a statement saying that they are going to acknowledge their impact on our society, and they're going to do everything that they can to make a positive impact by using their brand. I think that's excellent. And in fact, although there is a lot of backlash for this, I think this is going to be like Nike and the Colin Kaepernick campaign. You remember some months ago when they came out and said that Colin Kaepernick is going to be their next spokesperson? Yeah, their stock price plummeted when that news came out, but it just skyrocketed afterwards. So I long term, I don't think this is going to hurt Gillette. I'm glad that they're taking a step to improve conditions for women by encouraging men to step in and say something when they see something is wrong, to encourage them to not bully, to not fight, because those things don't make you a man, and you can't describe or define masculinity, and when you do, I think that creates so many other problems. So I'm interested to hear your thoughts about Gillette and their new advertising campaign. Likewise, I want to hear what you have to say about Tesla cutting its workforce, and do you think Sony was right for dropping R. Kelly? And do you think that Netflix is doing the right thing by increasing their price? How much are you willing to pay for Netflix? So let me know down in the comments below, and until next time, peace.